I would like to acknowledge that this video is being filmed on the traditional lands of the Wurrundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. I pay my respects to their elders past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander or First Nations people who may be watching this video today. Hi everyone, it's Steph here. Welcome to another reading vlog, and today this reading vlog is going to be for 3 books by the same author in the same series. I'm really excited to be filming it because 2 of these titles I have actually read before, but I haven't read for a while, so I wanted to reread them before I read the 3rd book, which is coming out in October. It's being released on October 3rd in New Zealand and on the 10th everywhere else in the world, which is really exciting. So the series is The Agency by Ada Maria Soto, and I apologize profusely if I've mispronounced the author's name. The author very kindly reached out to me and asked if I would be interested in reading an early copy of the 3rd book because she had seen that I really enjoyed His Quiet Agent, the 1st book. So I'm so excited to be able to read it, and they're very short. They're just very awesome books, so I'm so excited to get back to it. So I'm going to be reading His Quiet Agent. I think the second one is Merlin in the Library, and then the 3rd book, the newest one, is Agents of Winter. So yeah, we're going to get started, and I will let you know all of my thoughts on all 3 of them as I'm reading. So I just finished rereading His Quiet Agent, and it's just as good as the first time I read it. So this is about Arthur, who works for the agency, and no one in the office really knows who he is, and he's gone for a promotion. No one knows who he is. They don't, like, he doesn't stand out, he doesn't make waves or anything like that. And so he gets a promotion for the same job but on a different floor, and that's where he meets the agent known as the Alien by everyone around him, because he also doesn't let other people in. And there's an incident where Arthur finds the alien passed out in his car because he's unwell, and in order to check on him in the hospital, Arthur pretends to be his boyfriend. The doctor that lets him know that, you know, the alien, whose name is Martin, is underweight and hasn't been eating properly, and so Arthur takes it upon himself to feed him at work, literally like giving him parts of his lunch during lunchtime. And there's a whole backstory into how and why Arthur is such a good cook. He has Vietnamese half siblings, and he grew up in their family's kitchen quite a bit, so he is an excellent cook. He also takes it upon himself to teach Martin how to cook. The other thing I loved about this is that as we learn more about Martin through Arthur's eyes, we find out that he regularly reads to a group of kids at the local library on Saturdays, and these kids are like 12 years and younger. He doesn't treat them like they don't know anything. He reads advanced text to them, expects them to talk to him about it and do homework and all of that sort of thing, and these kids step up, which, agreed, you treat kids like they know something, and they step up and they will learn. Sorry, that's my teacher side coming out. What we do know is Martin is asexual, and Arthur doesn't really quite know what he is. In this book, he's toying with the idea of being demisexual, but you know, it's never been something that he's really had to clearly define, so he's not certain. He's still sort of trying it out. This first book is only super short. It's only about 130 pages, but it does pack a bit of an emotional punch. I'm going to jump into the bridging novella between book 1 and book 2, and for memory this one is not very long at all. I think it's like 20 or 30 pages long, so I will check in after I've read that. Alright, so I just finished Merlin in the Library, and this one is entirely told from Martin's perspective. So the first book is told entirely from Arthur's perspective, the short story is from Martin's, and it's as he's recovering from all of the injuries that he sustained at the end of the first book. And it's the first time he's gone back to the library where he reads to the kids, and which is very sweet because he genuinely cares for these kids and he has hopes and dreams for them, and they look up to him and respect him, and they're just so grateful to see him and so worried that he won't come back. I also love the continuing thread of food as a big part of this. It does make me hungry while I'm reading, to be honest, but food as being a way that these two communicate with each other. But mostly this is just about Martin working through where he is at this point in time and finally sharing some of his past with Arthur, including the fact that he grew up in a cult, and you know, that may play into the part of why he feels so uncomfortable around people. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving into Agents of Winter now and seeing where this story goes. That was so good. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. So Agents of Winter picks up a little bit after the other 2 books, and Martin is still dealing with the after effects of being injured in book 1, and he's dealing with constant migraines and panic attacks from being in situations where he's uncomfortable. And of course he's still very socially awkward, and we get a lot more about his past, his upbringing, and why that is. And just heartbreaking because he grew up in very unstable living conditions. And in this one, Martin and Arthur sort of make their relationship official with the agency, and there's a couple of things at the start about having to fill in a form with HR, and then they make plans to celebrate the holidays together. And Martin has things that he does every December between Christmas and New Year, and this time he asks if Arthur would like to join him there, and he does. And so we get to see them spend these quiet moments together. It's a romance, but it is no heat. Obviously the one character is asexual, and what I really loved about it though was how Arthur handles and works with Martin around both his migraines and the constant pain that he's in, as well as making sure that Martin is comfortable if they're touching. Like, he always asks if he can give him a hug, or, you know, knows when it's the right time to hold hands, or when it's just to be there and offer support in another way. And it's so interesting because I read a lot of romance books, and you guys know I read quite widely, and I'm happy to read no heat all the way up to completely ridiculous steam levels, and I enjoy them all. And every now and then it's just nice to read a relationship that does not fit what society expects to be the norm of a relationship. And, you know, it's done so beautifully in this book, and it's done so beautifully in such a short amount of pages, and it just feels like a slice of life. And I appreciate that, because sometimes you just want something that makes you feel good. Yes, there is a little bit of angst in there, and yes, these characters are going through things, but at the core of it, it's their relationship with one another and the life that they're building together, and how they're helping each other to build on the strengths that they need to work on. So I really like that. And there was more food. So I'm glad it's dinner time, because I need to definitely make something yummy to eat, because I'm very hungry after reading these books. Also, I have to say, bonus points, because in the very last chapter there is mentions of Jurassic Park, a movie that I absolutely love. Totally agree with every comment that is made in the book about the movie. And yes, like, that was just a lovely way to cap it off, because there's this thing in here around Martin seeing movies, and he hasn't seen many in his life, but this one happens to be a movie that Arthur hasn't seen, and everyone is kind of shocked. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I do want to say a really big thank you to Ada for sending me the copy of Agents of Winter. I so enjoyed it. Like, I loved it, honestly. And I'm glad that I reread the first book and the short story as well before I went into it, because it was just nice to see the progression of the story. All right, so that is it from me. I will leave everything linked down below so that you can check it out. Thank you very, very much again to Ada, and I hope that wherever you're in the world you are staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.